Ivete, Patrick. Hey, congratulations for Nake Gardens.
Thank you,
Thank you.
And thank you for having your clothes on for a documentary like this. So that's really appreciative for my audiences.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't wear clothes when we were making the film, but we wear clothes for everyone else when we're in the real world out here.
That is terrific to hear. Well, first of all, congratulations for that Nake Gardens as being showcased at Tribeca this year. How do you two feel about that?
Very excited.
Yeah, I think we feel very lucky. As you know, Sundance didn't happen in person, and so this is really, I guess, after South by, the first major gathering of U.S. and international films so we feel really lucky.
And it's the summer, and so people want to, wear less clothes, and hopefully they'll be more receptive to seeing a lot of naked bodies on screen. And we also have a lot of most of our crew is going to be there, and so it's going to be really fun.
Great. So what initially sparked you two to do a documentary of Nake Gardens?
But there's a backstory.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really coming from this, having loved the work of Diane Arbus and a lot of still photographers who had documented nudist resorts before us. We had made a previous feature that was about that took place about 20 minutes away from where the nudist resort is, and so we were working on that film, getting groceries one night, and in the parking lot of a Costco, a woman approached me and she said, "You should come to the nudist resort tonight. Entry is free, and we have a bonfire and a drum circle, and we dance naked till 3 a.m. And I was just like really excited by that, because we all know how exciting Costco is, and it was just like, those are the things in life you kind of wait for if you're a filmmaker or a photographer, is an invitation to a nudist resort. And so we followed up with the owner of the resort, who was very receptive to a potential film, and he gave us a tour of the resort, and the resort is very much like what you see in the film. It's like the Garden of Eden. It's very lush, and there's campers and tents, and so it's like a trailer park in the Garden of Eden. So cinematically for us, that was something we wanted to investigate.
I was gonna say, I'm not even aware of how many nudist resorts are actually out there, but you folks seem to stumble on this one. Are they all similar, or this one was very unique in its own way?
I think this one is very unique. I mean, I think there's all kinds of nudist resorts. I think there's like ones that have, some more younger population. It's like more of a party atmosphere. There's some places where people just go to vacation. There's some places that are feel more like a suburb. But this one is, there's the man who owns it, Morley, is someone who got an epiphany to be a nudist at Woodstock, and he is socialist and loves Bernie Sanders. And for him, it was very important from the start that anybody can afford to be a nudist. And so this place is the cheapest place to live in all of Southern Florida. And also just being in Florida, where you can be naked year-round. So it's a very unconventional, not built up, there's nature everywhere, there's nothing is paid, but also very accessible. And so that created a very interesting group of people that ended up at the resort, both the people who were very, very enthusiastic about being nudist, and then the people who just were there because it was an affordable place to live, and we are in an affordability crisis, and then they would adapt to being a nudist. So it's a very, very unique place for sure.
Tell us about the subjects, how you convinced them to be part of this movie. I mean, you could barely convince normal people to even take their clothes off, let alone, getting permission from nudists to be the permission to be filmed in the first place.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people at the resort have family members who don't understand what they do, look down upon them. Several people we met at the resort would go to church outside the resort, and when the church found out where they lived, they were no longer welcome back at the church. And so for these people, the film was a way to show the outside world that what they're doing is not
Perverse,
yeah, indeed
immoral, or yeah.
yeah, they were participating in a lifestyle that was about recreation, sunbathing, healing, and that did not revolve around sexual activity. So I think many of the people had been so maligned for this practice that having filmmakers like ourselves who wouldn't sensationalize their life, I think offered them a way to communicate with the outside world.
Yeah, I think they were ready. They were ready to share, with the world who they really were. And we did show them our previous work, and we spent a lot of time there. We usually live among the people that we film for months, and so we provided the opportunity for them to really get to know us and trust us and want us to make this film. And so, yeah.
So how was the production handled for something like this? Because you said it's all year round, but I don't imagine it was still an easy production, especially. Did you say you two filmed in the nude too? Because I can't imagine that with mosquitoes and stuff.
Okay.
It's you sound like you're from Wisconsin, so mosquitoes up there in Lake Country. I mean, mosquitoes are unbelievable. And then there's this very vivid smell that exists at a nudist resort, which is when sweat combines with suntan lotion and bug spray. And it's just this horrifying odor that I'll never forget. But people who are practicing naturism and nudism, I think experiencing the freedom that they get from sharing their bodies and finding acceptance for who they are physically, that there's no amount of bug spray that would stop them from doing that.
But yeah, it was a little uncomfortable, like I do say that I started to appreciate more reasons for wearing clothes than just, for hiding, from people looking at me. I did start appreciating the fact that clothes catch sweat for sure, and that they have pockets. And if I'm wearing something and I sit on the floor, I'm not worried about I don't know, ants getting in my butt. So I came out of the experience, I think we both did, saying we're not concerned about being naked in nature. It's like we feel comfortable with that. But I also I actually like wearing clothes. It's very comfortable.
One of the things I did notice watching your documentary is that there were children's subjects in the film, but I guess it's one of those things where you have to navigate children in a case like this. Could you talk about the editing process? Trying to, I want to say, self-censor to make sure children is not exploited in any way.
Yeah, I think it's the process was from beginning to end, from the moment that we realized this is a family naturist resort, and we're gonna explore what family is. And we're a family, we're married, and I was pregnant at the time as well. So we were thinking about that a lot. And so we definitely felt like for us to understand what a family naturist resort is and what, you know, what actually, what that's like, the existence with children are going to be in the film. Like nobody ever thinks about a nudist resort and think about the fact that there's children living there. But we obviously we're not going to just shoot random children. We were very close with the families that we filmed. These are families that have been there for a while, that have thought about, you know, because nowadays everybody has a camera, and they're living naked all the time, so they've thought about, you know, having images of their children or not. And then we explained to them in length what it means though to be in a movie, and we waited for them to be comfortable with us. And once we reached that level of trust, then we filmed with the families. And we did have a rule for ourselves too, that we did not want to show images of children like full frontal nudity ever. So it's always from, you know, frontal at waist up. And that way we could protect the children. And another way too, we don't disclose anybody's last name. So and that's for everyone, because nudists like their privacy. But it was the way that we figured out would be a respectful way to show a lifestyle and a tradition.
So there wasn't really any debate on the adult full frontal at all. I mean, after all, I mean, I guess this is Nake Gardens.
No, the owner, even for the location agreement, it's in there that there's no blurring of genitalia. And we didn't want to do that.
Right.
Obviously, there were, because I was the cinematographer, I never framed children frontally below the chest. So editing, it wasn't about editing around that, because we didn't
The
even,
rules were there from the start.
we didn't ever want to make an image where children were exposed frontally. But for adults, the film is really, we're seeking to understand why people are practicing naturism, to see what that looks like very vividly. And I think we're and learning to accept that these images that we're seeing at the nudist resort are very similar to what we see in the mirror of ourselves, because we're not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, oh, sorry.
Oh no, and I don't think there should be a perfect body. I think these ideals are terrible, and they cause a great deal of damage. And what we learned while filming was that many of the people at the resort are really healing or healed from the pain that society has placed upon them because of their differences.
Yeah, I gotta say that not blurring genitals is especially important for people who have non-traditional genitals, you know, and they want representation as well. They want to see that that's also normal, so that they don't feel so such outcasts of society. And that was one of the main reasons for making this film, was to challenge our perceptions of the human body and the way that the human body has been presented in media.
Yeah, you absolutely did that, and I commend you for something like that. And one more thing, the Midwinter Naturist Festival, was that a coincidence that it happened during your production, or did you always plan to cover that?
Yes, we saw the Midwinter Naturist Festival because Morley kept selling it to us as the largest nudist gathering in the country. And so we really saw the film as building up to that. And the festival takes place at the height of the season. And for a Florida nudist resort, the season is November through the end of March. So there's a lot of snowbirds there. So we were thinking there would be 1,000 naked bodies everywhere at the resort. And we would get this full spectrum of what nudism was in the United States. And almost like a Christopher Guest movie, the festival is anything but what Morley was pitching. So yeah, it was very interesting to us.
Well, it's interesting to us non-nudists because obviously, like myself, I never even knew. I guess, of course, we have a festival and convention for everything, so why not a nudist convention? Well, Ivete, Patrick, let me leave with one more thought. As this opens in Tribeca and hopefully more audiences get to check out this film, what is the one most important lesson that you hope that people walk away with after viewing your documentary?
You know, I think one of them is like that. I mean, I think that there was a really interesting experience for me coming in and out of a nudist resort. Like I would go in and I'd be there for a while, and then when I come out, I'd look around, and I'm hoping this happens after the screening, is look around and see everybody wearing clothes, and I think like, why did we invent this? Apart from the utility, you know, what are we covering and what are we so uncomfortable with about our bodies? And I think as a woman growing up in this society, there's just a lot of insecurity that the world makes me feel. And so I hope that one of the things that they leave with is that bodies are normal and they should accept it in the state that they are, you know, and we should love each other and ourselves for the bodies that we have. And I also hope that people come out with a more, like a deeper understanding of why people want to be nudists, and of not just this stereotype of nudists are funny and why are they naked, but also there is a lot of insight when we follow these families in the film about the traumas that we've had in the world because of the ways that our bodies have been used. And so just a deeper understanding of who we are as humans and what brings us together, and that nudists are just like us in many ways.
Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say it better than that, but I think one of our main protagonists, it's very easy to judge him for his weight. And I think throughout the film, we're building up to his revelation of how he accumulated this weight. And it's very powerful because I think a lot of people, including myself, who when they first meet someone who's atypical have judgments about them. But we've never walked a day in their shoes, and I think that the film really helps us question our judgments of others. And I think that's a very profound revelation for me.
Most excellent. Well said. Well said. Well, Ivete, Patrick, congratulations once again for your Nake Gardens documentary, and hope you continue success. Are you, just out of curiosity, are you two going to return to a nudist colony anytime soon, or that's done?
I think nudist resorts may be the biggest market for this film. So we're already getting lots of screening requests from nudist resorts, and I'm sure we're going to go to those screenings. And
I think we're going to have some naked screenings of this film.
Yeah, we really want to have fun, atypical screenings of the film. So yeah, I think nudity's in our future.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun for you two. Well, thank you very much for carrying this conversation. Can't wait to see what you two do down the road again.
Thank you, Gig.
Thank you.
Take care.